Mic check 1 2. What up? What up? What up? Sprulla. Y'all know who it is. I'm back for another banging tutorial. All right. This new MPC update is bananas. The coding department went stupid, dumb. Can I say it? Dare I say it? They went retarded on this update. Black Eyed Peas original "Let's Get It Started" joint was let's get retarded. Is that retarded? I just messed the game up, right? You didn't know that. You gotta read. Jimmy Iovine was like, "Yo, we gotta change this to "Let's Get It Started." We can't just be out here saying "Let's get retarded." But if a new update had "Let's Get Retarded" as a theme song, this would be the update. And if an update needed a theme song, "Let's Get Retarded" would be the update for this new MPC. All right, so um, without any further ado, that was a crazy introduction, right? Like, comment, subscribe, notification gang. What up? What up? The MPC as a DAW is not attractive. It's just like the first MPC when it first came out. It's kind of ugly, but it's easy on the eyes with the grayscale and the teal and the crimson. I like it, although at first glance it's just kind of like eh. So, brother, what is this update about? I'm not gonna go over the whole update. I just want to isolate one thing, and this thing has been plaguing Akai MPK Midi users since the joint first dropped. The knobs, the knobs. What can I do with the knobs? So one thing that I noticed in this 2.2.1 is that the Q-Link knobs are totally mappable now. We've never been able to do that as long as the software has been out. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do that real quick. I'm having a couple technical difficulties with my audio. It may be a few pops and clicks on there, but you guys don't really care about that anyway. You just want the info. So I'm gonna give the people what they want. All right. A lot of cats be complaining about, man, you talk too much. Just get to the gist. Hilarious. Hilarious. Shout out to the subscribers. I think I'm going on 3,300 people. Go and grab some more people. Tell them to come through. All right, so let's do this thing. What you're looking at is the 16 pads, right? And so I have my MIDI mapping indicator up at the top of the page. So when something's pressed on my controller or on the pads itself, it gives me a note reference, it gives me a channel reference, and it gives me a velocity that I click on it at. All right, so I just have that on for personal preference. You don't have to have that on. But what we're talking about right now is MIDI, so it totally is in correlation to so yeah, you might say, brother, I've never MIDI mapped before. I have no idea what MIDI mapping is. I don't know what MIDI is. Go take a class, man, or hit up YouTube University. I'm sure they have some type of maybe I'll do one. They have some nerds and geeks out here with nothing else to do than break down what a MIDI note is. But now we got MIDI 2 and MIDI 3. It's a whole new world. You can use MIDI to set off a bomb or freaking cue the smoke machine in pyrotechnics. Whatever. All right, let me get back to the tutorial. So we're going to be mapping out the knobs to the Q links, and you're looking at my screen the way that it's set up. One thing that I really like that Akai did with the interface screen, I'm sorry, with the visual aspect of the interface is that it's totally customizable. So if I don't want to look at the pads, I can totally just look at the workspace for the MIDI. If I don't want to look at the MIDI workspace, then I can look at the audio space. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go back to the MIDI. And what I want to do now is turn the pads off. And I want to look at the Q-Link knobs. Okay, so with this space, it's a little intimidating because you see time correct and swing and shift timing. And for that reason, I have my knobs highlighted with the camera on the bottom left hand of the screen. So you guys follow along what I'm doing. So of course these knobs are really intimidating, but really quick, I want to go over Q-Link mode. You can hit this drop down menu, click on the information button. What the heck is this? You know, we're not going there. But whenever you see that little eye, you can get information. In this drop down menu, you can go to the different areas of the Q-Link area and pull up different pages and control, depending on nice little email. You can control which parameter that you want to affect with whatever knob or button that you're using on your interface. Or if you're a Fruity Loops type person, you just use your mouse and drag. Click, drag. Click, drag. What they've added is a learn button here. And then you can highlight what you want MPC to learn, but that's not what I want to do right now. I'm going to show you guys a really dope interface that they built into this update that gives you a GUI type of experience for my nerdy heads. Alright, so without further ado, I keep saying without further ado, on the bottom right hand of your screen, right, of your MPC MIDI interface, you got a little smiley face where you can give them feedback, right? But you also have a new MIDI learn where you can press Shift Command L if you are on Mac. If you're on Windows, it's Shift Windows button L. Alright, so I'm gonna click on that. Bada bing, oh, wrong button. Click on that, and I get a window on the right hand of the screen that has a global preference, and it also has a project preference. What we're going to focus on is the global preference. Right below the global preference, and I'm going to go in on this really quick. This is going to be really informational because this one little thing that I'm about to show you right now is really intuitive, but there's so much more stuff. But I'm gonna dig into this really quick. All right, so in the below global, you have MIDI learn, and then you'll see that the screen highlights yellow, and then you have enable, which you can toggle on and off. Below that, you have a drop down menu, which is for the page that you want to control. You also have a drop down menu that I'm going to really go into for factory and user. And then you also have a menu on the right where you can save and duplicate and erase and clear, export and import maps and refresh and all those things, which comes in really handy as well. Now, let's get to the meat of this. The first thing to point out is that the guys at Akai were not lazy. They sat down and they came up with a way for people who own controllers that are not made to be able to have a plug and play experience. And what I mean by that, you can just plug in your interface, whether you have a M Audio Oxygen, whether you have an MPK 49, whether you have a Novation launch key, or some other controller like a Korg Micro, I think they make the micro pads or the nano pads or something like that. But you can totally map, plug the joint in, and then have an automatic map that the guys at Akai have already coded into the interface. So what I'm about to do is show you guys how to access that really quickly, okay? And that's in the drop down menu. Now pay very close attention to my voice, because it's a really smooth voice, and I've been told that the voice can work on nighttime radio. I'm just being silly. I'm being really silly. Yeah, pay very close attention to my voice. In the drop down menu, I'm sorry, before I go over that, below the drop down menu, you have things that you can highlight. You got pad 1, pad 2, and these areas have a menu or a informational area at the bottom. When you have it highlighted, Akai's put some nice little text in there to let you know what's cracking. Thank you to whoever did all this typing. So yeah. Now, how is this area affected? It's affected by the drop down menu up top. On the above each field, you have the menu to show you this is the target area, whether it's a pad or whether it's a unfortunately we can't affect faders yet, or whether it's a sequence or something on the transport bar like the play button or whatever. That's a target. The type shows you what it is, whether it's a button or I don't know, a fader or whatever. The MIDI channel, what data it's sending, and whether you want to take the information that's being sent or whether you want to flip it, reverse it. I put my thing down, flip it, then reverse it. It's your flipping with me. Let me stop playing. All right, so I'm going to hit the drop down menu really quick. Wrong one. I'm going to hit the drop down menu really quick, and then I'm going to go to factory. Now inside of this menu, you have not everybody, but quite a few maps that they've already put in here that are nice. They're nice. Okay, so we got the Ableton Push 1 and 2. We got the Akai Advance, the MPD, the APC, the LPD8. I'm pretty sure that, you know, there's not an Akai joint that you won't be able to find in here. You got the Alesis series, the Arturia series. My homeboy got the Mini Lab. It's pretty dope. I thought they was kind of biting when they named it the MK2 though, because it came out after the Akai MPK Mini MK2. But yeah, whatever. There's a car that has an MK2. Also Googled it, so you know. Anyways, nerdy. All right, we got the Korg stuff, which works for me because I have a nano control. And then you got your M Audio series. And what for my native instruments peeps, we got the Jam, we got the Micro, the MK3, the Studio. You can control this joint with your machine software. I'm sorry, your breakout box. Now, if you have a question of whether machine has to be loaded up for you to do this, I don't know. So, yeah, you might want to do your research on that. All right, and we got the Novation launch key in the Impulse series here. Now, what I'm going to do is go up to the Akai section, and I'm going to kind of expose Akai a little bit. One, for not offering me a job yet, and then two, because they map the knobs out in a way that I would not like them to, so I'm going to remap the joints, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it, and that's going to be done. Alright, as a matter of fact, I'm going to make this map available for you guys to download for free, so check the description box for the free map. Alright, I'm going to map this out for free, and you can download it and upload it and whatever you want to do. Alright, so What we're looking at here is the pad section, which the pads are already mapped out on program 2. So we're not going to worry about that right now. What I want you guys to do is hit the drop down menu, right? And then go to Q links. Blow. So here in the Q links section, matter of fact, let me change my view really quick. If you're in the regular mode of MPC, this is probably what it looks like, and you may have some of your sample packs posted up over here where you may have this joint. So don't get intimidated by my view, because I kind of like toggle in between the ways that I want to look at my MPC. So let's get rid of the pads. All right, so and let's bring the Midi learn function back up. Okay, so in QLink 1, I want you guys to notice the type. I'm gonna click the drop down menu, and we have for some reason I can't click this drop down menu, but for the type we have absolute control, and I really want to I'm gonna remap this after I explain something really quick. So for the Q-Link knobs, the way that this is mapped, I wasn't able to control the Q-Link knobs. As you can see, as I'm turning the knobs, my Midi monitor up top is changing with the information that's being sent. But unfortunately, the way that it's mapped out in this Akai MPK Mini MK2 map, it's not controlling the Q-Link knob. Sorry, Akai, I gotta put y'all on blast for that. I'm grateful that this joint came out at the same time. The guy that did the mapping, you might want to pull him into the office. You know what I'm saying? Give him a slight little write up. Give him a step up. Anyways, no, I'm kidding. Get a guy a raise. So QLink 1 needs to be remapped. Actually, QLink 1 through 8 need to be remapped. Now, how do I want to map these out? Well, let me make sure I'm on the proper page first of all, right? I'm gonna go to the main screen, and I want to affect the time correct for recording, because that's important. When you get ready to record and you have it on, I don't know, 1 bar, and you want to record 8 triplets, it kind of sucks when you record and then it's too late and all of your notes fall on measure 2, right? So I'm gonna use this knob to control my time correct, and this is where I told you guys I'm gonna kind of go in depth really quick. And this is only one small function of MPC Studio, but this is really important. Well, at least to me. Midi mapping to most producers may not even be a big deal. A lot of you guys use Fruity, y'all are just passing through this again. But yes, really big deal. Anyways, click on QLink 1. Make sure it's highlighted here, and then I'm going to click on the Midi learn function. Once it's highlighted, I can either click on the area, or I can click on the QLink area here, and it'll automatically highlight. And I'm going to toggle or twist knob 1, and knob 1 should send me some information on my screen. So now that I've learned that, MPC will say, hey, that's MIDI channel 16, and then it will send that information here. So we have MIDI channel 1, data is knob 16, and that's the information that it's sending. So I'm going to turn the learn off, right? Now the type automatically maps to absolute CC. You can do CCC offset or CCC2's complement, but the accurate increments will not ported through the transfer of information. And so what I mean when I say that is, put it on CC2s, it's about half of the increments that are reported. So once you turn it up halfway, the time correct will go all the way over to the offsetting. So we want to make sure we have absolute CC. Okay. Now that it's mapped out, let's tweak the time correct. Now let me blow up. Actually, let me close this section, and then let me drag my workspace. Actually, I'm gonna blow the workspace a little more. Let's close the Q-Link section. Okay, so now I'm gonna tweak the knob here, and as you can see, while I'm turning the knob, you can see the resolution changing. I can turn it off, or I can turn it to a greater amount or a lesser amount. So let me zoom in to the screen a little more. Let me go from measure 1 to, let me go in between the notes. So I'm gonna tweak the resolution. As you can see, if you have a really good monitor, you can see where my lines on the grid are changing. So we've mapped that out, right? The next thing we want to do is go back to the MIDI mapping area, and you could go in order doing this if you want. The next thing could be the swing if you want. You could just turn this learn function on and highlight, do the second knob. Then we can do the third knob. Then we can do the fourth knob, and so on and so forth. Now you want to make sure you have these guys on absolute CC, because if you don't, it's going to be a problem. Now, speaking of problems, you only have 8 knobs on your Akai MPK Mini, and there's no way to be able to change your knobs to a different setting with a different program. You just get one set. So be mindful when you are mapping out these knobs what page you want to control, because you may not just want to control the first 8 parameters. You may want to control a pad parameter, the volume or something. You may want to go and you may want to control the mute on and off or something, solo or da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. Now, let me go to some of the negatives about this update. And there's only really one that I have. And I'm only going over one part of the update. Actually, 2. One is the fact that they added all of these other factory settings for plug and play, but also the MIDI mapping itself. One thing that I don't like is that when I go into my mixer, when I go into my channel mixer and then I turn on the MIDI learn function, there's no ability to map out my faders, and that really sucks because the way that MPC's routing was, you have to have a controller that it recognizes, and so if you don't have a controller that will work as a control surface, you won't be able to map out your tracks. So keep that in mind. That sucks. But being that we have this learn function able to map out the Q links, that gives a lot more control of the way that we truncate samples. It gives a better way of taking the control over the mix when it comes to your time correction, because again, if you look at the time correction up top, I can just wait a minute here. Looks like I'm controlling. I've learned something on my own tutorial. Somehow I'm controlling my program 1 mixer with knob 1. I'm not sure exactly how I'm doing that yet, but let me figure that out really quick. So I'm controlling the fader. I'm controlling the send. I'm controlling the panning. Okay, so let's go back to, I'm actually learning something while I'm teaching you guys. Let me go back to the main window. As I go back into main mode, I'm on channel mixer, program. Let me go back to screen. Okay, so now my time correct is changing at the top right of the screen. So let me relay this information to you guys that I just learned. It seems as if each page that you're on will give you different parameters, and so I'm under the impression that once I highlight the learn button on a particular page, I can affect that particular page, that particular page's function of Q-Link knobs. And I'm glad I learned this on the video live, because I didn't know that. And so then I should be able to go to the other page and select a different group of functions and affect those as well. Okay, so that's practical. Unfortunately, we only have 8 knobs, so we can't control the top 8. For a total of 16 knobs, we only have 8. So each page gives us a total of 8 parameters or knobs that we can control in the Q-links. So that's decent. I guess I'm gonna bring this tutorial to a close. You guys are awesome. I appreciate all the support. Make sure you go to the profile page and click on that donate button. Keep the channel going. Maybe there's something I should go over really quickly before I close this out. If you guys have any questions or something that you want me to go over, just put it into the comment section. Let's see, track velocity, track length, shift timing, swing. I went over all those things. Project. Let's see, we got our voluming. I'm going to go into a different screen. Let's go to the sample edit screen. Okay, we got the voluming here. So it seems as if the Akai MPK Mini already has this area mapped out pretty decent. Let's see, we have the panning, send. Okay, mind you, you can also change the parameters for each knob by going into the menu and sending information to your MPC to say, hey, I want this knob to do this particular parameter. Just for kicks and giggles, I want to take a sample. It doesn't what it is. pretty dope sample. And do a little bit of mapping here. Let's see. My Q-Link knobs should give me the option to be able to truncate this sample. Well, I haven't learned how to do that yet, so that'll be another tutorial. So guys, that's how you MIDI map. Let me go back to the MIDI mapping screen. There's one more thing I want to go over for you guys. This drop down menu on the right, you click on that. You click on a new MIDI map, or you can export or import old and new maps. Let's just say I like the map that I just made. I'm gonna click on export, Akai MPK mini copy. I can give it a new name, and then I can click on the area that I want to save it, which I don't want to save it right now. I'll save it, and then when I get ready to or when MPC again, and if I don't have it as a default, I can click on import and bring another map in, which I have a map saved here that I did earlier. Double click, and then just click on it, and then open it. Bada bing, load that up just like that. That easy. And then boom, everything's mapped all the way out the way that the way to go. So you guys can go with the factory settings for your particular controller, but then you can also remap some of the knobs and some of the functions out that you want. You can create your own user maps and save those to your hard drive and keep them, and shoot them over to your homeboys or whatever, and yeah, you're good to go. So again, check in the description of this for the map that I made for the Akai MPK Mini. That will help you guys out the way that I like it. You may like it another way. I just showed you how to do that, and just tweak around with it. Tongue twisted. Just tweak around with it until you figure out what you like personally, because it doesn't have to necessarily be the way that Brulla does it. Every producer has its own palette of paints, proverbially, that we use on the canvas. We all have our own color palettes, textures that we like to use. So just take this information that I'm giving you and use it in whatever way that helps your art to come out better. Alright, it's Brulla. It's been another Akai MPK Mini tutorial. These knobs, Q-Link mappable. Never ever before in history. Thanks, Akai. Thanks to everybody who's following all of my social media stuff on the right hand of the screen. Come follow me, holla at me. Yeah, let's get it.